Welcome to another episode of the So-Called Oreos podcast. I'm Janae.
I'm Kia.
I'm Amari.
Hey, I'm Rachel.
And we're back. Another episode. We did want to highlight that, given the circumstances in life right now, which I'm sure we all know about, we are doing the podcast over Skype. So just in advance, we want to apologize for any glitches, any weird sounds. We're doing what we can. Well, anyway, tell us what happened in Black History. What was that? What happened?
Okay, y'all. So this week in Black History, April 19th, 1978, Max Robinson became the first African American to anchor network news, and that network was ABC. And then on April 24th, 1972, we got James M. Roger Jr., who became the first African American to be named National Teacher of the Year, and he was honored at a White House ceremony. So I just wanted to highlight, I try to do like some type of related theme with the This Week in Black History. And I just like that one because it's jobs that are like extremely important right now during this pandemic. So, news, that's how we kind of get updated in like the world and everything right now. It's super important. And teachers, and I think people are realizing how important teachers are with people having to be homeschooled and stuff like that. So that's what I wanted to highlight in This Week in Black History.
So I was about to say This Week in Black History. That's not my segment. We just did that. So for Black professionals we love, I decided to highlight former NFL player turned doctor Myron Rolle. Hopefully that's how you pronounce his name. Along with all those in the healthcare field who now find themselves on the front lines fighting coronavirus. So Rolle, during his football career, he played professionally for the Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. But after playing in the NFL for 3 years as a defensive back, he decided to leave professional football in 2013 to pursue his dream of becoming a brain surgeon. He's now a third-year neurosurgery resident at Massachusetts General Hospital, where the neurosurgical floor has been transformed into a COVID-19 patient floor. And doctors and nurses are working around the clock to take care of patients and risking their own lives to give others a fighting chance. So I just want to say thank you to all those people. Their jobs were important before this, but they're even more important now during this time. I personally don't know if I would have it in me to risk my life and be on the front lines. But I'm so thankful that there are people who have that in their DNA and are willing to do the necessary work.
Amen. Definitely want to piggyback off that because it's a very, very big deal that a lot of people are going to work every day and they don't know how they're going to end the week, Mm-hmm. So shout out to all healthcare workers right now. Really.
Yeah.
As you guys know, we are in the midst of a pandemic. So our episode for today, we really just wanted to focus on how to stay positive during the COVID-19 outbreak and while you're social distancing, how to just stay happy, upbeat, do things that keep you busy and keep you not so down in the dumps. We all know what COVID-19 is. It's an infectious disease that causes respiratory illnesses. And the symptoms are a cough, a fever, in severe cases, difficulty breathing. And so far, the best methods to stay safe are social distancing, constantly washing your hands, covering your face, and really stay home. Stay home, y'all. Don't go nowhere.
Stay home.
Yes. So far, this virus has killed over 18,000 Americans and more than 16 million Americans are out of work. I know that, currently most of us are blessed and we can work from home. But I mean, we don't know how long that's going to last for. So in these turbulent times, I think it's just important for us to, I don't know, try to figure out how to be as constructive and positive as possible.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just going to go into some little facts and comments about the coronavirus and the Black community. You guys can chime in whenever you want, but I know before, like, I don't know if you guys were aware, but especially on Twitter, like a couple of weeks before the whole pandemic kind of hit the U.S., there was like rumors that like coronavirus couldn't get African Americans and African Americans couldn't get coronavirus. And the first one who tested was like the guy from the NBA. I'm forgetting his name. And then Idris Elba. So then people were like, oh, damn, it's a lie. So that's 100% not true, guys. Just because I know like people, you know, I have family in the South, and I called my uncle yesterday and he was like telling me, I mean, there were some circumstances, so he was just telling me how, like, you know, it's harder for them to social distance down there. And that just made me realize, like, maybe some people don't really know how severe it is, or like some people really can't social distance. But I just want to point out that it is super dangerous and a super deadly disease. And yeah, it's of course hitting Black people terribly. I was reading this article, Black Americans face alarming rates of coronavirus infections in some states, which is really unfortunate because also if you look at the stats and how this virus came about, like we all know it originated in Wuhan, China. The New York Times also did another piece about how the cases in the US, actually most of the cases came from Europe, not Asia. But that's just to point out that a lot of these cases came from Europe and Asia, not Africa. But Black people are, of course, getting hit the hardest from the virus, which is really just unfortunate. If you look at the continents, I'm pretty sure Africa has the least amount compared to everyone else.
I think Africa right now is gearing up for it to hit them. I've been reading a few articles where it's expected to get pretty bad, but also I think just because when you look at how certain countries and certain cultures, traveling is a big aspect in certain ones. And so like you're saying, like it's coming from Europe and China, just thinking about the just how people travel between America and Europe, America and China, it's easy to see how it would most likely impact us harder because we travel a lot.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like, it's also gonna, you know, we see it hitting the tri-state area first. We're probably going to see it hitting the South in the middle of America really soon. They're about to hit their peaks probably in a month. And then, like you said, we're going to see it hit Africa. We're going to see it hit like poorer countries, which is going to be probably really devastating because one, they're probably not going to get the test. We can't even get tests in America. They're definitely not getting the test. And then there's a lot of articles about how, you know, the USA and Europe has basically bought up a bunch of like medical production and things we need for like 6 months. So those countries, even if they put in orders now, they're not going to get it for like past 6 months. So it's just going to be really sad to see that. And it's really unfortunate because no one should have to like, you know, their life shouldn't have to rely on like what medical supplies anyone has. But yeah, just to piggyback off that, I just wanted to address some things in African Americans in the U.S. because African Americans account for more than half of those who have tested positive and 72% of virus-related fatalities in Chicago, even though they only make up a little less than 1/3 of the population in Chicago. And then in other states, in Illinois, we have 43% of people who have died from the disease, and 28% of those who have tested positive are African Americans, a group that makes up just 15% of the state's population. Then we have African Americans who account for 1/3 of positive tests in Michigan, represent 40% of the deaths in that state, even though they only make up 14% in that population. And lastly, in Louisiana, about 70% of the people who have died are Black, and they only make up 1/3 of the state's population. So that just shows you like how big this is impacting the Black community. And it's really unfortunate because we know they say if you have like underlying health conditions like, you know, it's like heart conditions and like high blood pressure and stuff
autoimmune diseases are very high in the African American American community. And it's just like frustrating too, because it's not like we're sickly people. It's because systematically there have been things put in place that make it harder for us to get access to healthcare, to, drugs that are necessary for certain diseases. And it's also frustrating too, because now with 45 saying that, certain medicines might help, but it has yet to be proven. And those are medicines that are needed for people who have autoimmune diseases. Like, I know people who have lupus. There's a lot of these like medicines that they're saying might work against corona, but it has yet to be proven. So people who need those medicines can't have access because people who are healthy are now stocking up on them. Yeah. So, America has screwed over Black people for the entirety of its history, and the Native American people. And so it's not unusual to see that it would impact us the most.
For sure, yeah. And then I was just talking to my friend, I'm like, oh, isn't it funny? People from Europe bringing viruses and killing us. But, we all know that story. Anyway, guys, I promise it's not going to be a negative episode. Just want to give you the facts.
I did want to say, Kia and I were talking on the phone the other day, and Kia brought up the fact that, this virus is coming over from Europe a lot. And I just find it funny that our president, the dick face he is, would make you believe that all of these cases are coming over from China and calling it the Chinese virus. And it seems like it is always a ploy to pit different minority groups against the American person, which, as we know, the American person is the white person. And it's just so interesting that he's calling it the Chinese virus, but it's like these cases are coming from Europe.
Yep, sure is. Yeah, and then
I think. Oh, sorry.
No, you go. I don't even know.
I was just gonna say, I think one of the first cases in Africa was in Egypt, and it was from a German man. Like it's. I mean, again, this shouldn't be surprising because of just Trump's whole thing as president, and even before then when he was running, was based off of xenophobia and racism. But it's just unfortunate to see the rise of race-related, incidents, particularly against Asian Americans, since this has happened.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And again, like, how do you even... You can't cure ignorance, so I don't even know how you fight against it.
Yeah. I think, how do we all feel right now in our hearts, in our minds? I definitely wanted to, take a second to just air out our thoughts right now, because I feel like this is the first time that in our lives we've ever had to go through anything like this. And I know that we're not at war, but we are, this is the first time since, I think, the Civil War, that there has been any type of shelter in place or anything like that on American soil. And it's a crazy time. And I think that along with, before you can start staying positive, you also need to talk about how you're feeling and how you're processing and what you think about the entire situation,
For sure. I'll go last because I have a lot to say, but I'll let you guys go first.
I'll kick it off. I personally just feel I've been telling a lot of people that I kind of just feel like an angry teen, because that's the best way I can put it, where I just don't have any control right now. I have no say in what happens with government. And I think that's my biggest thing, is just feeling disappointed in our government. I mean, I've said this multiple times, but back in January, I was worried about this. Back in January, I was just kind of like, wait a minute, there is this aggressive disease that is traveling all throughout Asia right now. And the Lunar New Year is like right around the corner, and people are going to be traveling back and forth. That's a huge time for travel. So my thing was, no one's really talking about this, but because I work in media and I manage the homepage for my website, like, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing what news is putting out about this, but no one else is talking about it. And then the knowledge that, like, me, just little young journalist, was worried about this in January, and we've just been not talking about it, putting it off. It's been in the background. And then more and more cases start to come through, and still we did not shut down our borders or tighten our borders. It seems like our country is just more concerned with money and the economy than keeping people safe. And then along with that comes a disappointment in people as a whole, because it seems like people are prioritizing their fun more so than keeping others safe. And it's like, wow, Americans. And it's just a crazy time right now. Like, I have allergies, and every time I cough or sneeze, I'm like, Corona. And
I was literally sneezing earlier and asked my parents for some allergies, and my dad just like, mind you, I'm upstairs and I'm looking down at my parents. My dad backs up and he was like, put your mask on.
Oh my God. No, it is allergy season. Like,
it's allergy.
It's rough.
And
oh God, it's terrible. Sorry.
I was so anxious because I was in New York City. And, you know, my family's from upstate New York. And my job, we all had knowledge that there were reporters that were in South Korea, like a week prior. And they came back and were working regularly in the office.
They need to be sued.
So all of us were buzzing around the office, like, stay away from those people, like, wash your hands. And I know me and a few friends were like, we need to be working from home. Like, this is bullshit. They need to make us work from home. And then it was like a week went by, and then the following week, they waited until we all got to the office on a Monday and then told us to work from home.
But didn't you say, Janae, that you heard them talking about how they're like, oh, we're not going to let them work from home? Like,
yeah.
They said that.
Yeah, it was like, so the reporters that were in South Korea, right? They came back on a Monday. By that Friday, I'd overheard my boss talking to another big boss about whether to make people work from home or not, right? That Friday, that happened. And then on Monday, we all come into the office, and it's like by, 11 o'clock, they were like, go home. So I was just frustrated because it was like, obviously there may be some type of case or something happening for y'all to make us all work from home. And then from there, I was just kind of like, should I go home? Should I not go home? I don't know if I've come in contact with this virus. I'm not necessarily worried about my health, but I'm more so worried about my mom because she has asthma. My dad's in his 50s, you know.
Yeah, those are all reasonable things to be concerned about.
So I worked from home for a week, and I took my temperature every day. I was only going outside for essentials. And then I finally came home. But when I came home, there was a lot of anxiety for me because I was very, very worried about giving this virus to my family and possibly killing my family.
Yeah, I just traveled home from North Carolina yesterday, and my parents have quarantined me but I think this disease has done many things. I've always known I was privileged, but it has heightened my awareness of my privilege. I can come home, and the way our house is structured, I have a whole floor to myself, like a whole level to myself. So whereas other people are, in apartments that don't have the luxury of like separating themselves by room just because they have families in one apartment. So yeah, one is, I think, heightened my awareness of my privilege, but also heightened like what's important to me, and definitely, being close to family, being around my family, seeing my family healthy. It's kind of made me readjust like what my future plans will like look like. And I think it's confirmed that I want to be in New York State, close to family. Within reach. Yeah. Well, I mean, like not like in New York State, like for. Oh wait, did you say yay or no?
No, I said yay.
Oh, okay. In my audio, it sounded like why?
No. It was positive. It was positive.
Yeah. So New York is definitely home, and I think that's kind of highlighted like what's important to me. At least that's a good thing that's come out of this very shitty situation.
Yeah, I think touching on that privilege, Amari, is very, very important because that's definitely something that slapped me in the face too. Like I have the ability, not only the fact that I live in New York City, but I am from upstate New York, where it's just a 4 or 5 hour drive, a 45-minute plane ride. That's privilege right there. And then the fact that I can come home to my parents with a fully stocked fridge. I don't have to pay anything. If I were to lose my job, it would not be the end of the world. Like, that's privilege right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that too, just to top on you guys, because like, this is the first week, and I'll get into this later, but this is the first week I drove to my parents' house on Sunday. It is currently Saturday, so I've been here for like, I guess, exactly a week. And I see a drastic difference of like my mental being here versus being in Jersey City. So like, just like being in an apartment, you know, living with people, living with like neighbors, really close neighbors, and seeing like the same city scenery. And then coming here, it's like I look outside, it's legit trees, nature, sun, and it helps my mood a lot. Like sometimes I forget we're like in the middle of a pandemic because I'm looking outside. It's like beautiful. I can come home to like, yeah, both parents, my sister. So I have someone my age here, my dog. Like you said, like groceries, like food, stuff like that. Again, with the job, it's like very privileged that I even have a job. Right now, that we're getting steady paychecks, and even if I did lose my job, it wouldn't be like, you know, the end of the world. I don't have kids to take care of. I'm not like struggling like that. So it's definitely like huge blessings. And then Janae, just to top of what you said a little bit about the government, it's crazy to me that right now Trump's ratings are higher.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever.
I literally was like, the only reason that people voted for Donald Trump, well, there's multiple reasons, but a huge one was that people were like, he's a businessman, economy, jobs, whatever. And so the fact that we're in a terrible crisis right now and millions of people have lost their jobs and his ratings are going up is insane to me.
Yep.
And I'll just never understand this country.
Yeah. And the fact that he's more so focused on getting people back to work, when it is clear that the quicker you get people back to work, the sooner we will have another outbreak of this virus that could,
as we have seen in China.
Exactly.
It's like we have all the info. We have all the info now. Like before, they were like, we didn't have the info. No one could prepare. Okay, I think that's a lie because
they knew about it from
like
December.
You said, like you said, Janae. You like I read the New York Times updates every day, and I was looking at these numbers from China, and I was like, bro, this is crazy. Like these every day, it was just like increase. And me being American, I was like, good thing they're shooting over here. And we got hit like 3 times hard back in December. I was like, yo, this is insane. Like this virus is like killing a bunch of people in China. And I was like, bro, I was just like, this is insane, whatever. And then, March 11th. So it's exactly a month from when my job told me to stay home. And it's just crazy how much can happen in a month. But I just think it is, like you said, disappointing with the government because it's like, I feel like I don't know who in New York said it, but someone was like, healthy New Yorkers should just live their lives. So I'm like, bet, I'm healthy. I'm going to keep living my life. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, actually, you guys should probably work from home. And I was a little disappointed because I think my job, they were like a little wishy-washy about working from home. Like they were like, oh, well, ask your manager.
Yeah.
Like the governor said, but like you maybe. And then like 3 days later, they're like, that everybody work from home. But it's like by that time, we had already had confirmed cases. So you guys definitely could have prevented that. I think it's crazy how we didn't close the borders to China and Europe sooner because the New York Times also said that, like, I think by New Year's, we had already let 500,000 people in from China.
Yeah.
So that's insane to me when you guys knew about the stats. And then just to like how the, people in the government were selling their stocks because they knew how bad this would be. Just
corruption.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't want to hear the excuse, oh, we didn't know how severe it was. There's multiple speeches from Obama, Bill Gates, George W. Bush talking about there about to be a pandemic. We should be prepared.
But also, what's I think like most frustrating too about that is that the prior administration, Obama, literally had a plan set up in case a pandemic was going to hit America, and Trump purposefully disregarded that plan.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you literally had a plan handed to you.
And didn't he fire like the people?
Yeah.
He did. And that's
crazy.
The biggest part to me is that you look at presidents in the past, and you know, this is not necessarily a good thing, but President Obama, presidents before him were good at saying, oh, this is happening over in this part of the world. Let's send troops and reinforcement to contain that shit so it won't be on American soil. Let's quietly go blow shit up over there so it won't hit America. Once again, I don't necessarily condone that, but having the knowledge that this is something that if it hit American soil could be catastrophic. And right now, America has triple the cases of any other country in the world.
And China has a lot more, like the population is bigger than America. And
more dense.
And in certain places, they're even in closer quarters. So the fact that they were able to contain that at any rate, and to see how lackluster our response has been, like America, I'm really confused about people's inflated view of America as a whole in comparison to other countries. Because I'm
Me too. I'm confused.
For a first world country, this is some bullshit.
Yeah. It is. It's insane.
But first world, third world, all that shit was stupid from the get-go. So,
because you look at it and you're like, I don't want to sound like super ungrateful and privileged because I have a weird relationship with America, as most of us probably do. But it's just like, I was really thinking about like, what's the benefit of living here? You know, like besides, like I get, like I'm super grateful for, you know, having the right to vote in the First Amendment. I am super grateful. Like, don't get me wrong. That's the probably number one thing I like about America is, you know, the freedom we have. But then it's like, at what cost, you know, at like what cost with the racism and lack of healthcare, and you see people who look like you dying at alarming rates and no one taking care of them. It's like, well, I could do that in any country.
Yeah.
So why don't I get healthcare? So why don't I just get my ass up and move to Canada? Like, because I'm like, it's the same thing.
I think America is really good at making it seem like you have all this freedom and you have all this choice and you have all these rights, but you really don't. Because like you're even talking about the freedom or the right to vote. I mean, yeah, we all technically have the right to vote, but like voter suppression is a real, is alive and well in America. Yeah, like we saw, and it was on good display in Atlanta when it was Stacey Abrams versus whatever the dude who actually won.
Sure was. And they basically stole the election from her. Y'all that up.
And then you can see how he's been approaching this whole corona thing. The other day he was like, I didn't even know people who didn't show symptoms could have it. And it's like,
ooh, bro.
What?
Or talk about how the Wisconsin primary, y'all had them people line up to vote during the pandemic, which is insane that people have to choose their health and the right to vote. So really, again, I can get this privilege in another country with some health care, because it's crazy that we are a first world country and we don't got freaking tests, bro. Like, that doesn't make sense, especially when we knew about it.
And also, there's just a lack of leadership right now. There's Trump is literally letting every state do what they want to do. And I think that this is not.
Yeah, there's like a couple. Yeah, there's a couple states that still aren't, social distancing.
There are a lot of states that still aren't social distancing. I feel
even New York people aren't social distancing.
New York people are not social distancing, and I feel like now is the time for strong leadership. Now is the time for us to all have these same rules. Because when I first got home, I was like watching the news every day. Terrible idea. But I was watching the news every day and I was just confused. My best friend lives in California, and I was just kind of like, because she was saying that they had shelter in place before they had it in New York, which is insane. But anyway, so they had shelter in place for a while. They were mandated to work at home for a week or two before New York was mandated to work at home, like if you don't have a necessary job or whatever. And I'm like, why is California doing that? But New York is still just kind of like, if you're healthy, live your life.
Mm-hmm.
Why? People travel between California and New York and California all the time. So what's the point of rules if people are coming and going as they please.
And I hate how they were like, oh, well, the U.S. just doesn't have that type of like social structure to like, if we say stay at home, it's going to freak out people. Guess what else is going to freak out people? The death rate hitting 200,000. Okay. So like, how about y'all like stop with the whole, like, let's baby like Americans and let's put some actually laws in place so we can stop this sooner. It's not rocket science. I'm confused.
Yeah. I think also America is very individual centric. And so a lot of people struggle with that idea of community first and then self second. I think we're starting to see that blow up in our faces because I think it's kind of reiterating how important community is and how necessary that is for individual health. But again, because America is so self-centric, people can't wrap their heads around the idea that they might have to sacrifice certain things for the commonwealth good.
Yeah. For sure. And then it's also like I think I tweeted this, but it's like how fast we're going to come out of this is really relying on like selfishness and stupidity. Yeah. Like it's basically like how stupid are Americans and how selfish are Americans. We're really going to see it come from this. And like from this, I really don't want to be, because just from 2016, my, relationship with this country has dwindled significantly. But I really want to see us come out of this like positive. And with that, I mean like new laws to prevent this, to see, the income inequality, how this is affecting. And it's really disappointing because, as we know, Joe Biden is now the nominee. He's really not, putting anything out there that's really going to change. So it's just kind of like, well, where are we going to go from here? Are we just going to go through all this for nothing? Or are we going to put some laws and structure in place that we could prevent this and see the issues with capitalism? And I'm not saying like tear down capitalism, but like clearly we have an issue with capitalism and
the patriarchy. Tear that shit down.
Yeah. And it's crazy how like, we see all these celebrities getting tested and you got people really sick, can't even get tested, but y'all getting tested twice for fun. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, there's so many things that this has shown, and I think it would be super disappointing if we don't
act on it.
Yeah, if we don't act on it, if we don't see like the change in this, like it would be really disappointing that people would die for nothing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that because I think in all of this, governors have really come up on top as like important leaders. Not necessarily that's how it's supposed to be set up, but that's just how it's been happening. We've seen Cuomo, we've been seeing him give more direction than Trump. And so I hope people realize that, local government's important, state government's important. So while you go out to vote for the president, also make sure you're going out to vote for like governors, your senators, and also get involved yourself. And I think that's what I've gotten out of this. And hopefully, a lot of people have gotten out of this is that like, we all need to get involved because although we may not feel like we have a say like national wise or state wise, if we just get involved in the tiniest ways, hopefully that'll impart some change. I mean, at this point, who knows?
No, for sure. Rachel, do you want to chime in on how you're feeling?
Yeah, just going back to how we all are feeling. For me, I'm just a little bit worried. You all mentioned how you were able to go back home and to still live with your parents. I'm away from my family, but I've been contacting them every day. FaceTime to my sister, my father. And my mom, she's working every day. She's a nurse. She works at a nursing home. So her, making that sacrifice to continue to help those in need, and also making sure that, the family is doing well financially. I am working from home. It did take a while for my job to finally let us work from home. I believe next week will make it a month since I've been working from home. But if, God forbid, I'm no longer to work from home, losing my job will be a really big issue for me. So I am grateful that I am still able to work from home. And I hope that my job keeps allowing us to work from home. And it didn't really hit me until maybe like the second week I was working from home. Because when you have your job, wherever your job is, and then coming home is your safe haven. That's your escape from like everyday life. But now that I'm also like working from home, and at the end of the day, like I'm still home. It takes a while for me to adjust. So when I can, I put my mask on and I go outside for a walk. I'm, like Kia said, like my scenery is beautiful. I'm surrounded by trees, and today's a beautiful day. So as much as I can, I do try to leave my apartment and go for a walk. And be active, having a strict routine and following that routine. There are some days where I don't get to follow that routine because just mentally I'm just like drained. But on days that I can follow my routine, I do. I do follow that routine. And do we want to just jump into like how we stay positive?
Yeah, I think that's a good section.
Yeah, were you going there already? Yeah.
Real quick. I just want to touch on something before we go to the positive, because just want to say I'm like 95% I had coronavirus. But I'm just going to talk about this experience really quick because I know it's been super negative, and I know that, the news is always focusing on like the death rate and like how many people have died, and you hear all these stories about how people are gasping for air and all this stuff. And yes, it is true, but just want to say from personal experience, it's not that bad, guys, if you do get it. I'm just going to say I think I have it, one, because that week where I was working from home, the 2 days before that, I never take the subway because I walk to work. But those 2 days, of course, I had to take the subway. I was doing networking events. I was going to a comedy show. So I was actually very much in the public sphere, on top of work, on top of going to New York and going on the subway. So that Wednesday, they told us we're working from home. That week, they told us there was a confirmed case on my floor. Out of all the freaking floors, there was like on my floor. So I was like, that's a little scary. By that Friday, I knew something was off because I had a video conference meeting, and I couldn't get the energy to even do a video conference of just sitting up. Like I couldn't even sit up. And I had like, my temperature was a little off. I was hanging out with my friends like in Jersey City, and we wanted to go to like a local coffee shop. I couldn't eat. I was just, and then by the end of the day, I was just like out of it. My friends were like really concerned because like, I think if you know me, I'm pretty positive and I don't ever freak out about things. I'm pretty chill for the most part on that. But like that day, it was just like off. I think subconsciously I knew I had it, and I was like freaking the fuck out. It was also a little scary because I was like, okay, I can get through this. Like I'm working from home. I'm a pretty social person. So I was just like, I'll see my friends in Jersey City. I'll go to different restaurants. And then I started to panic because the news started coming in slowly of like, okay, Jersey City has a curfew. Okay, all these restaurants that we were going to go to are like, we're not, open. Then it was like bars are closed by 10 p.m. And so then I just started like panicking. And then that night I had like basically 2 panic attacks in the middle of the night. And I was just like freaking out. The next day I actually went to New York to see 2 of my friends just to calm that down. There was like nobody there. We had lunch. But that helped my, and like just being, I don't know, it helped seeing them. And then that day I was like, my friend came over, I was burning up. Like I couldn't, it was just so hot. Like I was just, I don't know, like had the sweats. And then by that Sunday, like the body aches had hit, and I had completely was like, I can't function. Like, and then like I was reading the news about how they wouldn't test unless you had a confirmed like temperature. I didn't have a thermometer, so I had to call, all these pharmacies in Jersey City. With the grace of God, I literally, guys, got the last one. I called 15 pharmacies. The last one was like, we have 2 thermometers left, and you can get here in 30 minutes. We'll give it to you. And I drove, got it, checked my temperature. I had a fever for, I want to say 10 days. The body aches lasted, I want to say around 10 days. It was super rough. Like one time I called my mom at 4 a.m. and like my parents were just on the phone with me for like 2 hours because I was just in so much pain. I had, the only thing that would help was like me taking Tylenol. Also heard that you guys can't take ibuprofen, so just and Advil, I think. But yeah, the Tylenol was like the only thing, and I didn't want to keep taking Tylenol because that's not really, good for you, and I wanted to fight it off. But the Tylenol was like the only thing I could function, and I could only function from when the Tylenol was hitting, and that means I had to, sleep at that time, do whatever, respond to people, keep hydrating because the fever was like killing me. And so I do want to say, like, it was a little scary only because I've had a lot of, like, I don't want to say a lot of illnesses, but I've had a span of medical conditions. That was probably the scariest only because the recovery time is rough. Like, it took me, like I said, 10 days to have a fever. The recovery time was like slow and rough on top of reading the news. And you're not really sure what's happening. I went to urgent care. I tried to get tested. I didn't end up getting tested because, like, we know they wouldn't reserve tests, and basically told me I had to die. I had to be dying to get a test. I clearly had symptoms. I clearly was in contact with people at work in New York. I have asthma. I took the flu test, it was negative. So I'm just saying all signs probably go to that. And they basically were like, well, there's a couple of different viruses going around. We don't have enough tests. Basically just go home and stay home and don't be around people for 2 weeks, which is a little insane. If you think about it, like, I pay for healthcare, I can't get a test, and you guys are really only telling me to just stay home for 2 weeks.
The fact that you preface this saying it's really not that bad, guys, and then list it out. That's like, yeah, that's rough as hell.
I just want to be transparent. Okay, so I thought I had a mild case compared to everyone, but everyone's like, Kia, that's bad. So I'm thinking maybe I had a medium case. I don't know.
For 10 days?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know.
A fever for 10 days, body aches for 10 days. I mean, compared to, like, you weren't on a ventilator, which is, like, severe, but, like, still, that does not.
It also depends on, it also depends on, like, if you have any other illnesses. Like, it may not have been bad for you, but for someone else, like, people had to, like, go to the hospital, and people are on ventilators
for sure
in their life. So
that's what I'm saying. I think I had, like, I think with all that, like, I think if this was, like, probably 3 years ago, it might have been worse, but only because I started, like, increasing helping my immune system and stuff. But I was just lucky that I didn't have to go to the hospital because I do have asthma.
Right, I was going to say, as someone with asthma.
Yeah, like,
it did impact your breathing.
Yeah, so my breathing was off. I don't know about shortness of breath because I've never had that. But my breathing was definitely off. Like, I can tell the difference. And I took my inhaler a couple of times. So I think that also helped that I have an inhaler and that I'm, like, aware of, like, breathing issues. But I wasn't, like, gasping for air, and I don't think my lungs are, like, corroding like most people. So even with all that being said, it was a really terrible experience. I did recover, and I was not in the hospital. And honestly, that's a blessing. Like, so
at this point, you gotta count them.
Yeah, so, like, I just think, like, especially anyone who's young, like, it is scary, but just, like, do what you got to do. Like, take care of yourself and stay away from older people. Like, I would not let my parents see me for, like, at least 3 weeks. I was like, I'm gonna go through this alone. I don't care. I'm not getting anyone sick. You guys cannot come up here. And then I waited to come home. So I just want to say, like, I'm alive and well. It was just 2 weeks of being bad, but it's possible. So don't freak out if you can.
Yeah.
But on to positive.
Yeah.
On to the positive.
Rachel, finish up telling us about your positivity and things that you've been doing to help yourself out.
Yeah. Again, it's been really hard for me personally, but what I try to do is like, I would wake up early before I log into work, and I'll make myself breakfast and stretch, work out for a little bit. During my lunch breaks, I go out for walks. So my apartment complex is big enough for us just to stay in and just walk around. Also playing board games with my boyfriend. We try to, like, stay away from electronics and do things like Scrabble's, like, our favorite game right now. Just doing things to get our minds off of what's going on. I don't watch the news as often. as most people do. I try to stay away from that. Again, and just keep in contact with my family as much as I can, and remaining hopeful. Thinking of ways for ways that I can continue to be better and to feel better about whatever it is that's going on. And I also like taking care of my plants is very therapeutic for me.
How's Bubba?
Amari bought me a plant a couple of months ago. Since then, I've been like purchasing plants left and right, and I can see why people, do have gardens and plant, because it's something that's relaxing for me, and it's something that I just enjoy doing. But overall, and also like having friends who are there for you when you need someone to talk to. But overall, again, just trying to remain positive and just being honest, saying if I'm not feeling well today, I'm going to say I'm not feeling well. I'm not going to hide what I'm feeling. And read, just to keep yourself busy. And yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Okay. I'll talk about the things that I've been doing next. I've started doing paint pours, which is really fun. It's something that you see on Instagram. My Instagram Explore page is completely trash, but one of the things that I see are people doing like calligraphy and painting, and I've always wanted to be an art hoe. So that's been great. My mom has, like, when I moved out, she made my room into a little like art studio. So she has a lot of painting stuff just here. So I've been using that. I've been going on bike rides every other day after work. I've been doing yoga. I'm reading Harry Potter. I'm on the 3rd book.
Yes, continue with the Instagram stories on them.
I will. I have to do another one. I just coming to the realization of how trash Dumbledore is crazy to me. But that's
something you don't hear often.
Dumbledore is trash. He's trash. But anyway.
Wait, are you guys team Slytherin or team Gryffindor or what?
Gryffindor.
Oh, I'm a Slytherin.
I mean, granted, I've only watched the movies, so I have nothing to base it off of.
Girl, you got to make a Pottermore account so you can figure out what house you're in. You're in Ravenclaw.
No, Amari's a Ravenclaw. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Wait. Why?
Because they're the smart ones, like the educational. You're definitely a Ravenclaw.
You're Ravenclaw. I have taken the test 3 times, and I got a Ravenclaw twice and a Slytherin once. So
you got that Slytherin?
Yeah,
I'm a Slytherin. I always get Slytherin first and then Gryffindor, but it's very close. It's like I'm on the border of Slytherin and Gryffindor, and all my friends are like, "Hey, you're a Gryffindor," and I'm like, "No, I want to embrace my nasty Slytherin side."
I think you're Slytherin, and Slytherins aren't nasty.
No, but people always think they are, and I'm like, "Ooh, I want to embrace it. I love it."
Slytherins are just strategic.
They're strategic. Yeah. They're logic based, and they're very, very focused on their goals. They're very goal oriented,
and they're not afraid of who they might need to cut in order to get to those goals.
And they're dedicated to Slytherin. Like all Slytherin works together because they're like dedicated to each other.
Yeah. Rachel, I would say you're a Hufflepuff or a Ravenclaw.
Sure. She's sweet.
I don't know what that is. Is that a cereal brand? What is a Hufflepuff?
But it should be a cereal brand.
We need to take a test so we can all see what we are.
Yeah.
Next episode, we can read our results to each other.
Yeah, I like that. Sorry, Janae. Continue.
No, you're good. Other than that, I've still been talking to my therapist. I'll just go on a 45-minute walk and be talking on the phone with her, which has really, really been helpful for me. Just, keeping with therapy. And then other than that, to be real, it's just been talking to the homies, 1, and 2, I'm still making plans for the future. I'm not giving up on this summer until it's time to give up on this. Like, I honestly, guys.
So next month.
Right.
Honestly, I know that it might not be the most logical thing in the world, but I can't sit here and be like, well, I don't know where I'm going to be in August, so I'm just not even going to think about it. Nah, I'm trying to be out here in August. Like, I'm still trying to make plans. I'm not saying I'm going to, risk my life just to have a hot girl summer, but I'm saying that I'm staying hopeful and that I have convinced myself that by June, we're back. So I've just been really trying to think about my life and how upbeat this summer is going to be because she was away for all the spring. So
I feel that, bro. I feel that. Amari, you want to tell us? Or wait, that's so funny.
Okay, wait. Well, maybe I'll go first because I'm the resident pessimist. So we should stop. We should end on a positive note, and since he is a positive resident. So as y'all can imagine, it's been a little bit of a struggle for me. I'm someone that.
Oh no! Did we lose it?
Hey, Amari left.
Probably her connection.
Yeah.
Damn, y'all. The universe is like, nah, with that negativity, but no, come back.
I know. I'm going to text him.
Damn, y'all. This is quarantine. You know what? Can y'all hear me? No. But I can see you guys now. Wow, that whole time I couldn't see you.
Bull crap, man.
Skype sucks. Sorry, Skype. If you don't want us to talk bad about you, sponsor us.
I am not sorry to Skype. Y'all need to do better because y'all have been around for too long to be messing up like
Too long. Y'all been around, I don't know, too damn long.
Too long.
Y'all gonna see this on our YouTube. Shout out to our YouTube channel. What's good?
Hilarious YouTube. I mean, I think we should keep this in the show. This is a moment.
I think it's funny. Also, what do y'all expect? Like, we in quarantine and we got to do everything remote. You know what I'm saying?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we got it back.
I think right. Okay.
It's fine.
So just go back into it?
Yeah.
Just go back in,
Okay. So yeah, as the resident pessimist, it's been a lot of work for me to remain positive in this. Most days, I'm the person who reads the news an unhealthy amount. So I start my morning reading about Corona, and then I end my night reading about it. But I've been trying to be better. So I've been working on writing poetry, editing poems that I've already written, working on some freelance gigs, watching, of course, my Hulu and Netflix shows. I am a shameless binger. But I've also been taking this time to, reflect on how simple my life has been before this, and just how blessed I've been in this life. So that's been helping me be introspective. But also, since now I'm in upstate and being in the country, well, it's not the country, but we're right next door to the boonies. There's a lot of open space. So I'm looking forward to being outside once my parents let me free of this quarantine, going on walks, maybe getting into jogging, helping my mom in the garden. So I'm excited to be one with nature. And I'm also trying to think about creative projects I can do during this time. So my parents might just be getting a lot of self-portraits taken of them during this period of social distancing. So that's me. Yeah, I mean, that's that stuff happens on a good day. On my bad days, I'm like, we're all gonna burn and this is hell and there's no future. But when I'm positive, it's all right.
I feel you on that. Okay, for me, I did feel that way, Amari. It was I think it also was like I said, being in an apartment, you're kind of just bro, I wake up another day, we still in this bullshit. But I don't feel that way now that I guess I have more space and stuff.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps. I've been so I only read the news. I only allow myself to read the news twice a day. One in the morning for updates and one in night for updates. But I do feel I'm also kind of numb to this now. I don't know if it's numbing for a couple reasons. One, because like I said, 95% sure I had it. So I'm kind of just like, okay, I went through it, over with. They're saying you can't get it twice. Let's hope they're right. They're saying, by then you're probably not contagious or going to get it twice. So that kind of calms me down. Like, even if I were to come in contact, I probably won't get it and I probably won't pass it on. So that definitely takes a lot off my shoulder. I went through it early. I didn't have to go to the hospital where like the hospitals don't have stuff. So that definitely helps. And then I'm kind of just like, you know what? I'm not going to, freak myself out every day. And, there's nothing I can do about it. But I'm not going to keep beating myself up every day because I have no control, like you said. And, I just have no control. So as you guys know, I'm a goal planner. So the first thing I did was I wrote down all the goals I wanted to accomplish in quarantine. A lot of them is, perfecting my skincare, taking care of my nails, getting them healthy, trying new hairstyles, doing a lot of workout challenges, doing a lot of stuff for this podcast, for my job, finishing the book and content I had to read. I also wrote down a schedule. So, just wrote down a schedule of like what I'm going to do in the morning, what my work day looks like, what my lunch break looks like, what I want to do after work, and just to get accustomed to that new schedule since this is like my life for now. Let's see what else I wrote down. Oh, what helps with me is I choose one thing a day that I want to accomplish, and that helps me, take space with the time, and it's related to my bigger goals. So it's like, okay, today I'm going to work on this podcast and editing the podcast, and I have something to do today, and it's related to my bigger goals, or like I'll try a new hairstyle, I'll try a new hair product or something like that. I'll make things with my friends. Like today we're playing this online game at 9 p.m. and last week it was my friend's birthday and we all like did the house party app, so that was fun. Keeping in touch with my family and stuff, which is really helping. So it's just like keeping busy and having something to look forward to definitely helps a lot. In the morning and at night, I really think about how grateful I am and how blessed I am, which helps me a lot and puts things in perspective because 2 years ago, I was in China, guys. So it's really lucky that I didn't plan that China trip this year, because 2 years ago, exactly at this time, I was in China. Also last year at this time, I was in Mardi Gras in March. So we're seeing a lot of things hitting Louisiana and people who went to Mardi Gras. So also a blessing I didn't go there. And then last year, this time, I was unemployed because I was laid off and my aunt did have cancer. So I am really lucky that I do have a job now and my aunt is healthy and she's not going through chemo when a time where all the hospitals and stuff, and she would be super vulnerable. So it's just things like that where I'm looking at like, literally at this time, April 11th last year, like what was I going through the last 2 years, and it's such a blessing that I didn't do that now. And it's almost like how I always say, like the universe and stuff. It's almost like the universe did look out for me with, because I usually am on vacation once in the spring, and me and my best friend were going to book a vacation in the spring in Europe, and it's just we just decided not to because the weather. And we were kind of bummed because we're like, damn, we usually go somewhere every spring. It's kind of sucky. We don't have anything planned, and it's just like kind of like a blessing that it was looked out for us that we didn't book that Europe trip because we wouldn't have been able to go. So it's just like looking at things like where we were the last couple of years compared to now. I think that definitely helps me with like my positivity and like just reminding how blessed I am.
Yeah. Like not even like just to piggyback off of what you said, I'm not like, again, I'm the resident pessimist. So like energy, like believing in energy and science, I'm like, but this situation has really helped me like lean into that because back in the fall, I was like, for whatever reason, I really wanted to go to Jamaica to visit my grandma's because one is 98 and the other one I just hadn't seen in a while. And so I went in January and I'm like, dang, like, I don't know the next time I'll actually be able to physically see them. So I was so thankful that I went when I did. And also my dad visited me back in, I think it was either January or early February. And I asked him to bring medical masks so I could use them when I was cleaning my apartment. Mm-hmm. Lord, and now look at how hard it is. So I'm just like, they're like weird little, like, I'm like, thank God for timing, because who would have known that I would have needed a mask in day-to-day life moving forward.
Yeah, it's like crazy how things like kind of like work out like that. Yeah, and just some other tips for you guys that I just looked up on a couple of websites that are, what is it called? Well, I'm forgetting the name. Reputable sites. Yeah, that's the word. Sorry, I like forgot about it.
Reputable.
Yeah, so I'm not hitting some bogus facts, but here's just some other facts we kind of touched on. But I mean, just take a mental inventory of your well-being. If you guys are really going through something, like try online therapy, like Janae mentioned therapy. If you can or have the ability to, I know a lot of services are out there now that are lowering their price and stuff for people during the pandemic. So there's a lot of things that are going to be lowered price right now, which is really helpful for everyone. Journaling, maybe take the time and assess the things you'd like to change for the future. So this is a weird time, but maybe like it puts things in perspective, what you actually want to achieve in the future, what really matters to you in the future, and kind of just like being in process with your emotions. With that being said, it's definitely okay. Everyone's like online being like, I'm going to try a new skill and everything like that. And it's okay to not feel that way. Like, you don't have to feel like you're motivated to do like a bunch of goals and planning. It's a weird time. It's not easy for everyone. It's a lot harder for a lot of people. So it's okay to just be like, I'm not feeling motivated. I feel out of it. I'm sad. And that's a completely reasonable response. And you don't have to feel like you need to tackle the whole world right now. Also choose to limit, the news consumption and your social media consumption, because I think a lot of it could just be like too much. And like I said, like when I read the news, like I look outside, it's sunny. When I read the news, I'm like, damn, okay, outside of my house, people are really dying. So it's just like limiting that, like be aware, but like limit the negativity of the news. Find a routine. I read that definitely helps. So like get up, actually get dressed, don't stay in your pajamas all day, like take a shower, figure out a workout routine, I don't know, but just stick to a routine. And then also like find activities to fill the time. So even if that's just like, binging a new show or something, or like learning how to draw, like Janae said with art, that might, be a little positive. Make a TikTok account. I don't know. Take a free online course. There's a lot of free online courses that you guys can take. So there's one Coursera. I'm taking one from I think it's from Harvard or something, but it's like how to be positive. It's literally a course. The Science of Wellbeing. It's from Yale University. So it's free. So, you guys can do that. There's a lot of other options
that goes along with that, I think.
Yale does?
Yeah, I think it's either Yale or Harvard, but I've been listening to it to get more positive for cool. The past year. I think it's called the Happiness Lab, based off of the course.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's exciting. I'm going to listen to it after I take this course. See if there's like local activities around you guys, because I know like for Jersey City, like we used to have this midnight market and they moved it like online, so you could like live stream the DJ and also order from like these local restaurants and help them out. So there's a lot of things that people are doing like that were regular, like even comedy shows online. So just like museum exhibits are like doing museums online. Like you could like live stream the zoo, watch pandas, like my shirt, online meetups. Like there's a lot of stuff that you could still do socially online. Like we said, practice gratitude and mindfulness is probably going to help during this time. Keep in touch with your loved ones and friends, like play online games and apps. Like you guys can download House Party. I don't know if you guys have that, but basically it's an app where you could like FaceTime all at once and then play different games and with each other. So there's ways to like stay connected to people. Just pick up the phone or like text someone and be like, I'm thinking of you. I think that means a lot to people, especially during this time. Keep in mind something to look forward each day. Like I said, that probably will help, because like on weekends we're usually out and about, and now it's just like, damn, what is our life? But we can make the best of it. Remember that things are like temporary and this will pass. So like, I know it feels like we're like in this like kind of like weird movie type state, but like things are going to get better. And especially like where we are, we're going to see the curve soon. We're going to see it flatten. I think we're like the worst right now. Wait, what'd you say?
New York is seeing it flatten right now.
Yeah, like I think, especially the ones that got hit hard first, we're going to see the flat, and then we're going to see it flatten for the rest of the country. And I really think by July, it's going to be drastically different. So I know it feels like the end of the world right now, but it's not going to last forever. And then just some things, if you guys are working from home, get dressed, like I said, pretend like you're actually going to work. Designate a workspace versus a home office. So if you're in your room all day, that's probably going to be a little rough. So I would just designate the kitchen or living room to your workspace, and then you can go back to your bedroom. So it's kind of separating your work and personal life. Take a lunch break like you would. Keep your working hours. So if you work from 9 to 5, do 9 to 5. Don't be doing 9 to 8. Don't be on your available at 8 if you don't need to be. You still have your set hours. And lastly, don't forget to socialize. So you would talk to your coworkers at work, so you should talk to them now. So if that's hitting them up on GChat or Slack and just being yo, what's good? Talking shit about your boss. I don't know, but you would do that anyway. So just do it now. Yeah, that's just some tips for you guys to get through Corona.
I think next we wanted to talk about dating during the Rona. Should you? Should you not?
What is it?
Who knows? Yeah, as someone who was actively on the dating sites before Corona, this has been interesting. I don't know about you guys, but I've always found it difficult to maintain virtual relationships in general, and have really tried hard to move off of the apps as quickly as possible. Now, with that not being an option, it's really challenged my ability to continue to text people I'm not a caller, so I have to build myself up to that. And so to call people I actually don't know has been a bit of a struggle too. And I was kind of excited about a person before this happened, and I was looking forward to going on more dates with him. And so to see that kind of just be dashed away and have to keep this up is really hard, because you're I don't even know when I'm going to meet you, or if I'm ever going to meet you. And I know probably because Janae, you're active on the sites too, how that's been for you as well.
So it's been weird, because I do have one, I'm just going to start calling them Rona bays, the people that you're talking to right now. Cause there's this one guy that I've been talking to for a while, and we had been intending to, meet up before everything went down, but just our schedules just were not matching up. And now, since all of this has started, it's we still talk just about every day, but it's just I don't know. And he and I have already talked about this kind of that feeling of where do we go with this? Because we obviously want to meet each other, but it's just this weird thing of do we just keep on texting every day, not knowing when we're going to meet up, or... So
have you been on Hinge? You said you've been on Hinge still.
I was lightly on. I'm still getting notifications. I'm still on the app. But do I actually use the app right now? Not really. Because I'm just kind of I've got one guy that I can't really meet that I really do want to meet. So it's adding another person to the plate right now feels a little weird.
Yeah,
and
how much interesting in that? When you got, because Amari, when did you start talking to this person or start dating?
Literally went on a date with him before spring break, and at that dinner date we were talking about Corona, and we're we were just it seems serious but it hasn't hit, and we were just how do we move forward, not in our dating but just in life with this. And our conversation got interrupted by someone who was at the bar with us. And they were no, it's going to impact us greatly, and went into a long list. So to see everything that she had said actually come true we've been talking about that. But yeah, it was bad timing. And so even when you're talking to Janae about whether to continue on Hinge and Bumble, I'm I don't even have the mental capacity to really deal with one person at this time. So the idea of dealing with multiple people is kind of daunting.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, because I always wondered, because I see people still swiping and stuff, and I'm not on the app, so I'm always just fascinated by especially now, what is, I guess I don't want to say the point because that sounds rude. What's the goal of swiping right now, because it's like you obviously can't meet. You don't know when you're going to meet. Are you just going to keep up this relationship to meet? And then it's also like, okay, I invest 3 months into talking to you, and then we meet in person. I don't really like you. So it's like, did I just talk to you for nothing? So I always think that's interesting. And then you see, like, you know, I'm on this like Facebook group, and there's guys who are like, why don't you want to meet up with me? And it's like, y'all are so stupid. Or you see, I read an article about how people were like, well, I'm going to hook up anyway because I want to. And it's just like, what?
No. It's kind of like, if y'all dumbasses weren't afraid of commitment and had decided to commit prior, we wouldn't be in this predicament. But now the guys who want to play around are just by themselves.
I know.
Hopefully they're by themselves.
Was that you? That's in that tweet that was like, the only guys having consistent sex are the ones who wanted to commit.
I don't know, but I probably liked that tweet.
Yeah,
because it's true. But I think now it's like, what I like about it is in the apps I've really struggled with the physicality and the physical part of dating, and like if it's too soon to get into that, and it's been like this weird tightrope that I've had to dance with guys and try to gauge where they are, and now that's kind of stripped away. So like we're forced to just focus on, you know, like our personalities and just the communication aspect, which I find it less distressing.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if this is going to like change the dating game in the future. Like, are people going to be more committed? I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I think they'll change it for the immediate future. I imagine that after everything is said and done and people are actually able to meet up with each other, I think there's definitely going to be, you know, I imagine there's going to be a rush of stories and articles of, you know, the amount of pregnancies going up after Corona and the amount of people being in relationships. Because I imagine it's like you spend 3 months just being able to communicate with someone without, like Amari was saying, all that, those physical barriers. So I imagine that immediately it'll change that. But I think afterwards it's just going to go back to normal, to be real with you.
Yeah, that's disappointing. I mean, that's true. I'm always just like, I'm not going to put my energy into like, I don't know. I just seem like that's a lot of energy. And I'm like, there's other things I can be doing.
What you said before was it being pointless. And then you were like, I don't want to be too rude. It does feel, swiping right now on any dating app feels like I said before, I already am talking to one guy that I have not been able to meet up yet. And I've been talking to him for months. So it's like, why add someone else to the list? Like,
yeah. And then it's like, if that person decides like to randomly ghost you, it's like, that's going to be rough. And you're not going to be able to cope with it like the way you would, like, you know, because right now would be a really shitty time to like go through a breakup or something. Yeah. You can't even like be with your friend or like kind of like do stuff to take your mind off of it. So it's just like interesting to me. But on the topic of dating apps, I was reading about how people are meeting up on the dating apps, and it was like Bumble has seen a significant increase in usage where the coronavirus outbreak is in the U.S., like Seattle, New York, and San Francisco. Video and audio dates are a lot more common, so people are like FaceTiming and stuff. I think they said the usage went up 21%. And then on the terms of like people in relationships, because I can imagine you're quarantined with your boyfriend or something, and I would go insane. I don't have one, but I know I would go insane. So it's like, will this lead to more divorces? Because in Bloomberg said the city of, oh God, I don't know how I pronounce this, Xi'an in central China and a lot of other places reported a record high number of divorce filings in early March. And yeah, I just think it's interesting how some couples, because like we read online that some people are like realizing they hate their boyfriends and stuff. So just like interesting how that changes people's relationships. I think a lot of people are going to realize a lot that they don't even really like their significant other, that they can't be with their significant other a long time. And honestly, it's going to be a blessing because you should want to figure that out sooner than later. Yeah.
But I read,
for our listeners who are in a relationship and
relationship as for
significant others, my advice is to find things that you guys like to do together and separately. Also take time to go on walks together and talk and try to disconnect from social media. Like I said before, we ordered board games and we play board game together. talk about like your goals that you guys want to accomplish together as a couple.
Yeah.
And also goals that you guys want to accomplish separately, but how it also can benefit the relationship. So if you are quarantined with your significant other and it's not going well,
That face.
but figure out how you guys can.
Oh wait, no, you froze.
Wait, is Rachel not there?
Wait, no, she just froze.
Rachel,
She froze for you guys too.
Yeah, I can't hear her.
there anymore?
Oh, I hate Skype, bro.
Coronavirus is funny, killing our connections.
So basically, Rachel said, "I'm in a health relationship. I don't know about y'all hoes, but I don't know what to tell you."
I read an article about like Corona bays and how there were a lot of people who were in the beginning stages of dating. And because they were in the beginning of stages of dating, like only a few months they've been knowing each other, they were like, let's quarantine together. And there was one girl in the article who says like, and I think that it happened with this guy that she was just talking to, like one of his roommates was exposed and she was over his apartment. So she had no choice but to stay with him for like a little while.
That's unfortunate.
He was just talking. She literally said in the article, like, I feel like all of my freedom has been taken away from me. And I regret all of this.
Damn.
Yeah, that sucks. And they were in Europe. So this is when they were hit pretty hard.
Yeah, that's not the time to be over some random person's house and you got to stay with them for like indefinitely.
Yeah.
I would rather die, honestly. I mean, actually, if it's good. Wait, is Rachel back?
Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
What were you saying before?
Okay. Yes. So Rachel, continue on with what you were saying.
Yeah.
Oh, just if find ways to communicate with your partner, because and you guys going to be in this space for a very long time. So, and if you can leave, then leave. But why would you stay if you're not happy with your significant other?
Wait, so how are people gonna like? What if they live together? Like, that's rough.
You have to figure it out because
I don't know.
Well, maybe you guys just stay separately in the house, and then find.
Damn, that's rough.
You have that space to stay separated until this is over, but I'm not a marriage counselor or
Rachel is like dead ass. I don't know how to help you.
Or maybe you can, a lot of us are fortunate enough to have the option to stay with parents, if stuff ain't working and it's about to be War of the Roses up in there, you could just opt to want to stay with your parents.
I do like how you said figure out the activities together and separate, as well as the goals together and separate, because I feel like that could definitely get lost now that you're with someone literally 24/7. I think it's important to keep that individual but also together and like that balance. I think that has to be like probably number one, like you said, communicating, because like you ain't gonna go nowhere. Like, so if y'all got problems, you need to squash that ASAP or it's gonna be awkward for months. So you need to figure it out. Yeah. Super, super disappointing. Yeah, like you said, like I don't know if you could go to a friend's house or someone else's house. I don't know. That is rough. Like because I would imagine that a lot of people are gonna go through some breakup soon. So
we also I just found this cute little article about best methods for social distancing for like according to your zodiac sign. So I thought it could be cute because I like zodiac sign stuff. So yeah. I'll go ahead and read mine first. So I'm a Capricorn. My birthday is on January 18th. Fans, you can send me things in the mail. So my challenge would be the lack of structure and productivity in quarantine that could make me feel directionless and anxious, which is true. Very true. A strategy for me would be preparing goals. If I happen to not be working on my work, I'm sorry, guys. I have to pivot and make sure I go into another direction and take creative accountability and partner and connect with people often.
Interesting. We have an earth sign. I'm looking at how many. So we have a water sign, 2 fire, and 1 earth. Ooh, so we cover all the elements.
Yeah, we're pretty
out there. Okay, I'll go next. Fire sign, Team Sag, December 19th. My challenge is being a feisty fire sign. You crave adventure, whether that is new vistas, languages, or subjects to learn about. Strategy. Luckily in quarantine, you can do the latter. So your best bet is to roll in a class that allows your mind to travel, even though your body cannot for the movement. Find a pal to join with you, learn together. That is so interesting since I literally talked about doing a course.
Yeah.
Next fire sign, you want to go, Amari?
Sure. Sorry, guys. My parents just brought me up my lunch.
Oh my God, that's so nice.
And I'll silently unmute. But yeah, so mine says challenge. You are the fire sign with the most energy. Whoop, whoop. So your biggest challenge could be not being able to run, spin, and hit all the opening nights. Strategy is essentially you channel this fire or else you may combust. Create a space in your home dedicated to working out and order whatever you may need to make your home workout slay. Loud music in a daily class will keep you pumped. I can tell you right now, my ass is not doing that. I'm taking this quarantine.
Like Amari. And also, Amari's an Aries, guys.
I am an Aries. Sorry, guys. March 30th. But I'm taking this time to bulk up in the food department, and I'm just gonna gain all that weight. I don't care. I'm not working out. I'm about to get. I'm working on my thick look.
Okay.
You're thick.
Okay. I'm in this bitch.
Yo.
Come on now.
Okay. So I'm a Pisces, born March 17th. My challenge is being an extremely empathetic water sign. You can sometimes get lost in the collective fears and emotions that are not fully your own. Sad but true. My strategy is creativity is queen for you. So whether it is collage, dance, or writing, it is essential to get your juices flowing. Also, morning rituals for grounding will help you to protect your vital energy. Yes, morning rituals are very important for me. I agree with this.
Yeah.
Wait, Amari, real quick, do you happen to know your rising or moon sign?
I don't. I feel like someone has figured it out for me before, and I feel like I'm in double Aries. Is that a thing?
Oh yeah, you could be a triple Aries, but I feel like you have some water in you.
Really? Is that a good thing? I only know what Aries are. I only pay attention to the fire sign.
Yeah, it's not a good or bad thing. You just give me water sign vibes, in touch with your emotions and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm an emotional bitch.
Yeah, no, Cancers and water tend to be emotional. I have a Cancer moon, but yeah, you were just giving me water vibes. So I was like,
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I feel like I'm more one of the chill Aries, but my family. One, I don't know if this is because of Aries or just because we're Jamaican, but there's always a level of craziness, and they say I haven't fully tapped into mine yet. So we're all waiting to see when the full Aries Jamaican comes out of me. So stay tuned, everyone.
Well, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. My chart is all Capricorn. All Capricorn.
Wait, your parents?
No, my chart.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. My parents are Sagittarius.
Yeah, it is. Steve.
I really do.
My parents are Caps, so that's ironic. But your parents are Sag. My parents are Caps. You're a Sag. Yeah.
I think it's time to talk that mental health with Rachel.
Yes. So Kia sent me this article from the New York Times, and I thought it would be really helpful to just point out a few things from this article. It's 10 ways to ease your coronavirus anxiety. I'm going to read a few tips from this article, and you can read the entire article. It'll be available in our show notes. First is know the facts. If you don't overdo when it comes to watching the news and reading up on this virus, because it can overwhelm you and cause you to stress out even more. Another tip is to identify the source or sources of your anxiety. Figure out what it is that is causing you to feel a certain way, and to just to tackle it, whether it is going for a walk or exercising, or taking a long, nice, warm bath. Just take care of yourself, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And Dr. Lerner says, so avoid being a do-it-yourselfer when you are not qualified. Grab some other clear-thinking person to ask what she thinks or what he would do about stockpiling food, or taking that plane trip, or talking to little Billy about what's going on with grandma in the hospital and his school being closed. You may choose not to follow the advice you seek, but it's essential to have others' perspectives. And lastly, don't skip the self-care. Again, take care of yourself, whether you like to read, work out, like Janae mentioned, art, painting, find new things that you can do to keep yourself busy and healthy. We just need to make sure that we are on top of our mental health and how we feel. And to be honest, and just to close, make sure that you seek the help that you need, whether it's through your friends. I think, Janae, you mentioned about online therapy. Was that you? Online therapy? Yeah. So that's something that I'm actually going to try, because it's just hard to talk face to face with a therapist. And take care of yourself. That's the most important thing.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel, for those words. I'll move on to my segment, the shits. I think we've settled on the shits. I'm cool.
Yeah, I think it's just going to have to happen.
Yeah. Amber wrote in saying, hey guys, I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy on your end. I'm writing you guys today because I've been struggling a bit with being too many people's support system. In light of everything going on in the world, COVID-19, social distancing, and our shitty president not leading our country at all, people losing their jobs, and the list goes on and on. I've found myself being a sounding board for a lot of friends, which is fine. I have always been a very empathetic person who plays therapist for my friends, but lately, even looking at my phone has been giving me anxiety. At any given moment, I'll have dozens of messages, and it's even been hard for me to concentrate. I understand that this is a really good problem to have. There are a lot of people who are being forced to cut their only contact with the outside world because of social distancing, and I'm incredibly thankful that I am obviously loved. But I need a break. How do I log off while still helping out friends who need emotional support?
That's a lot.
That's tough.
A lot of people are probably going through that, I think.
A lot of people are. And I think this is something that I can definitely relate to. And something that I've been doing lately is just muting. Muting people. And I know
do what you got to do.
It sounds so mean. It sounds so savage. But it has been, I am a part of like a lot of group chats right now. So it's been a lot for me. So I've just been muting people. And then, you know, as I'm working from home, say, okay, from this time to this time, you are doing nothing but focusing on work. And then you're going to go get food. And then you're going to look at your phone and catch up on all of those text messages. And then I'll send out all my text messages and then go back, say from this time, you're doing work for the podcast. You're doing work for yourself. You're going to watch that YouTube video you always wanted to watch. You're going to do work for work. And then look at those text messages. That's been something that's been really helpful for me. And I think also because muting sounds so savage and it kind of makes you feel guilty. But at the same time, just like that analogy that everyone uses with the mask thing on the airplane, you cannot put someone else's mask on if you're not wearing one.
Yeah. You can't help like people, be healthy if you're not healthy. Exactly. But I think also another thing is like straight up telling them like, listen, I'm also going through a hard time. Yeah. And I, can't really I can't really handle this right now. Like we're all going through this. It would be selfish for someone to be like, let me put all my emotional baggage on you, figure it out when you have your emotional baggage. And something that I've definitely learned in the last couple of years, just reading about this and taking a perspective is if I come to my friend, I'll be like, do you have the emotional capacity to handle this story right now?
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that.
I think that's something we forget.
Mm-hmm. My friend, in school, she, like when we first started getting close, she'd always ask me, do you have the mental space to take something on right now? And I used to get annoyed. I'm like, just like call me. But I really appreciate that now because it's like, it forces me to reflect on my own mental space and whether I have the energy to deal with someone else's, well-being or just not well-being, but like what they're going through. And it is really good. Now I've started saying that to other people because I don't want to unload myself onto someone who doesn't even have the mental space or like the emotional capacity to take that on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That's something you like don't think about until someone brings it up and you're like, wow, I didn't even realize that like maybe I could be like contributing to someone's like anxiety or something, and they want to be a good friend but they can't really help me right now, and that's okay. Because I definitely have a friend that like she's not aware of it. Like she means well. She's obviously not trying to do anything on purpose, but like there are times where she just unloads, like we'll call you for hours, like throw a bunch of stuff on you and you're just like, bruh, on top of your stuff, I got like a lot of stuff I'm dealing with, and it's just like, I'm gonna need you to step back for a second. But like, yeah, just definitely putting in perspective. And I think it's okay to tell someone like, listen, I'm not in the right headspace. And if they get mad at you, you should be friends with them. Yeah. To be honest.
Honestly, if you can't tell someone, hey, I've got a lot of stuff going on right now, like I'm busy, I can't text you back right now, I'll text you later. And if they get snippy with you, irritated, they're going through their own crap right now, and maybe they're taking that out on you because they know that you'll be around. But you don't have to go through that shit. So if you need to leave them on red for a little while, leave them on red.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think you gave some great tips, Janae, on like dedicating a certain time for something. Yeah. And it's okay. Like people don't have to answer. Now, don't be taking like 8 days to respond to people, but like I think it's okay to take even a day.
Yeah, I think so too.
Shout outs before I forget and people kill me. Okay, yeah. Thank you. So, giving shout outs to Julius Rich, who's been asking for a shout out. Just gonna say it so he knows what it is. And then also I want to give a second shout out to my friend Bacola, who I've mentioned on this podcast before about her YouTube channel. I don't know if she doesn't want me to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it because my homegirl is featured on CNBC. Y'all can check out the video on YouTube. I make like a 3-second appearance. People were like, you're in this YouTube video about this girl making the salary. And I'm like, yeah, that's my best friend from home. But yeah, she's doing her thing. Her podcast or her YouTube channel kind of blew up. She is a Black woman working in tech, and she's giving a lot of like tech perspectives and tech tips. And it's cool to see a Black woman doing that and talk about her experience. So yeah, her channel is called The Come Up. She's doing big things on YouTube. Sorry, my mom just came in. Anyway, yeah, but she's also just like a great person, a great friend. So I just want to highlight her as much as I can and just like wish her the best in her success. But yeah, and shout out.
That was the time to get financial literacy, knowledge and all that stuff, because we're going to need it moving forward.
Yeah. And if you want tips from a Black woman, Come Up. So check it out on Instagram and YouTube. And yeah, she's just got like thousands of followers and views now, and it's cool to see like her success from when she just started the channel, and like CNBC is hitting her up, and it's like really awesome to see. So just wanted to highlight that because it's important to highlight people's accomplishments. Oh, also like belated birthdays for Rachel and Amari, who celebrated their birthdays.
Thank you.
Sorry for all the people who have to celebrate your birthdays in quarantine. But hopefully you make the best of it. Hopefully your friends and family can like FaceTime you and do house party and stuff. But yeah, just want to highlight everyone doing big things now.
Rachel, Amari, did you want to say something?
No, I just said yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's it. I think this might be the longest episode that we ever recorded, but y'all needed it.
Y'all needed everything, bruh.
Exactly. So like usual, help us help you. Comment, like, subscribe, go to I always go off the script, y'all.
I'm like, what did she say?
Go back to the script. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Follow us on social media at So-Called Oreos, and you can email us at so-called-oreos@gmail.com. And we have like this cool new survey thing that Amari broke her neck and her back to put together, and we need your help. So-Called Oreos be like So-Called Oreos International, fam. Like, we trying to do this for y'all, for them Oreos. You know what I mean? So
bang,
you can
bang.
I think the quarantine is showing.
It is. You can listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and please, like I was saying previously, remember to like, rate, subscribe, and leave a review. Until then, bye.
Bye, y'all. How do I stop recording?